Good morning. What is up, fellow Hoops fans? Welcome back to another episode of the Last Shot NBA show right here on Little Birdie TV. And as always, brought to you by our great mates over there at topsport.com.au. Now, we are deep into the conference. I don't know about deep, but we're getting some good traction in these conference finals games. And we're going to bring on old mate BK to discuss all things NBA playoffs. BK, my brother, how you doing?
I'm good, my man. I think we're deep. We're getting deep. We're heading into game 3s and 4s.
Yeah, is that classified as deep? Game 1 and 2, I guess teams are still feeling each other out, but maybe game 3 and onwards, we're getting deep into the conference finals, right?
I'm with you.
All right, I can rock with it, BK. All right, let's get into the Eastern Conference Finals because the Miami Heat have taken a 2-1 lead over the Boston Celtics. They had a big lead yesterday, almost gave it up, but ended up winning the game 109-103 at TD Garden. So they take back the home court advantage, which they had lost in Miami, but they get it back, led by Bam Adebayo's 31 points, 10 rebounds, 6 assists, 4 steals. BK, that's your guy. That is a welcome return to form from Bam Adebayo because in that one game, he pretty much doubled what he'd scored in the first 2 games combined. No Robert Williams III, which he was out due to knee soreness. So that may have been a factor, BK. So when we look at Bam Adebayo's form, didn't play well the first 2 games. Robert Williams III did play those games. Now, he didn't play that game. Bam Adebayo has a great game. Can we say that he's maybe turned a corner, BK, or is it just because that Robert Williams wasn't there that he played so well?
I think it's a little bit of both. Obviously, Robert Williams being out, you could notice because they were going to Bam from the jump in this game, whether it was getting him into the paint or even just his facilitating from the elbow. I think he had 6 assists, most of those coming in the first half yesterday, but he was just much more aggressive, taking that one-on-one matchup with Al Horford and pretty much anyone that the Celtics tried to throw at him. He had an advantage over them, and obviously that wasn't the case in the first 2 games with Robert Williams anchoring the defense there. But a great game from Bam, desperately needed after 2 pretty quiet outings in this one, but. The Heat defense, that's really what changed things in this game because they were just making life so difficult for the Celtics, wire to wire. Even in that fourth quarter down the stretch when the Celtics were starting to come back, it was big plays from Bam, big plays from Victor Oladipo gets into the game for Jimmy Butler after he goes out and comes up with some big time steals as well. So this is a huge road win for the Heat and a much needed one as well.
We are going to talk about Jimmy Butler as well in a second because there's been quite a few significant injuries this season. This series, I should say. Looking forward, BK, obviously they have taken back the home court advantage now, the Miami Heat, with game 4 to come on Wednesday. How do you see this, playing out from here on out? This is going to be a great battle because I still think it's going to go probably 7 games. How do you see this one playing out?
Yeah, the good news is it looks as though Jimmy Butler may not miss any time. And obviously also Marcus Smart, he went out briefly with a sprained ankle. Jason Tatum as well, he went out and then came back in. So it looked like guys were dropping left and right. The good news is all 3 of those guys look like they're going to be okay for the next game in the series. But I'm sticking with it. I think the Heat will still win this in 7 games, but it's going to be topsy-turvy. They've got that win on the road now. Now Boston has to kind of maintain things on their home floor to try and make this a series because they do not want to go back to Miami down 3-1.
Well, game 4's turned into a must-win for them because if they don't win that game, like you said, if they go back to Miami 3-1, it is lights out.
Yeah, absolutely, and shout out to Jaylen Brown as well because Tatum was struggling in this game for the Celtics, but Brown really put the team on his back. He had 40. Super efficient. I think he was 100% from 2-point range. Was basically their only real offensive option. They didn't have much else cooking in this game, and as I said, a lot of that was due to the fact that the Heat's defense was so on point. But Brown was the other lone Celtic that really kind of found a way through.
All right, let's talk about these injuries, BK, because you mentioned those 3 guys there, Smart, Tatum, and who was the third? and Butler, you said they're all probably going to play. I think even the Miami Heat announced during the game yesterday that Jimmy Butler was not going to play the second half, but they were optimistic that he was going to be back for the next game. Look, you never want to see injuries. They are inevitable, unfortunately. When you look at this series, though, BK, Robert Williams now, they're not sure if he's going to be back for the next game, maybe even not this series. He's had this sort of knee injury, I guess. It started late regular season. He's missed some games in the playoffs already because of this. It flared up at various stages in that first round against Brooklyn as well. Ime Udoka has said that he is truly day-to-day with this injury. Like, they just don't know what is going on with it. Do we see injuries maybe, I guess, I don't want to say deciding this series, but playing a big factor in helping a team win?
Oh, absolutely. And that's just the case with any playoff series, is generally the team, if it's two teams that are quite sort of neck and neck, the team that can stay the healthiest generally will have the better luck in the series. And you could argue maybe the Celtics, did they bring Robert Williams back a little too prematurely, after being sidelined with that knee injury. And we just saw yesterday just how important he is, especially to the lob threat on the offensive end, and then also just defensively, having that guy in the paint. It just makes Bam Adebayo's effectiveness so much more limited to have a guy like that. So if he's not good to go for the remainder of the series, then that changes things for the Miami Heat. And it changes things for the Boston Celtics as well, because now you're going to be asking Al Horford and Daniel Tice to do a lot in the middle. I don't know if they've got that, because what we saw from Bam yesterday really looked like the Bam we've kind of been expecting from this series.
Yeah, like Horford could probably give you some minutes, you know what I mean? But to do it consistently over like a 2-3, however many games are going to be left, stretch, I don't know if old man Al's got that left in him, especially against someone like Bam. All right, BK, let's move on. Listen, man, we're deep into these conference finals, and then you got me talking about the Los Angeles Lakers yet again, BK. Jesus, I can't get away from this team, all right? But they're looking for a new coach, and apparently they're down to the last three finalists for that open position. Now, the three finalists are Darvin Ham, Terry Stotts, and former Nets coach Kenny Atkinson. BK, you said off air before, watch them go with Terry Stotts. And I said to you, I don't care who they bring in, because if that roster is exactly the same as it is this year, they could bring in Prime Phil Jackson. They could bring Red Auerbach back from the dead. It's not going to matter. Nothing's going to help this roster, BK.
It's a good start, at least. It's a good start having a head coach. And an interesting list. For me, I think Darvin Ham is the guy that they've got to really be looking at, because we've seen guys that have been given opportunities, as assistants coming into head coaching positions. We've seen the success they've had, whether it's Jamal Mosley, whether it's Jason Kidd, the guy they had on their bench just a season ago, Ty Lue, obviously Ime Udoka, Monty Williams, like guys that have been given these opportunities have proven themselves as assistants. And Darvin Ham's been in championship environments, both as a player and obviously most recently as a coach with the Milwaukee Bucks. I quite like him as an option. Will they have the guts to hire a first-time head coach? That's the other thing, which makes me think maybe a guy like Kenny Atkinson, who has been an assistant for the past couple of years with the Clippers and now with the Warriors, obviously has some head coaching experience as well. I like Kenny Atkinson. Out of those two guys, I mean, I don't really know if Terry Stotts is the guy that's going to change things for the Lakers. I'm sort of leaning towards Atkinson or Ham. What do you think?
I agree with you on Stotts. I think Stotts is a good coach. I don't think he's a great coach, but I agree with you on him. I think it's got to go down to one of the other two. I thought Kenny Atkinson was well respected by the players when he was with the Brooklyn Nets. I probably lean more towards Darvin Ham, but I also agree with you that I don't think the Lakers right now at this point in time are looking for a rookie head coach to take over this squad with, this LeBron James, with this Russell Westbrook, with this Anthony Davis. If by some miracle they can make some moves in the offseason and sort of maybe reshape that roster, I kind of like Darvin Ham to sort of lead a younger sort of Lakers squad. But because they are so veteran heavy, I would probably go right now with Kenny. Look, I mean, none of these three candidates really jumps out at me though. BK, it's kind of like the Australian political elections on the weekend. You know what I mean? It was like someone's got to win, but it's the lesser of two evils.
So are you going to be happy with anything?
Yeah. So look, I think in an ideal situation with a younger roster, I'd probably go towards Darvin Ham. I think at the moment, given the way that the Lakers roster is, probably Kenny Atkinson, because like I said, I thought he was well respected by the Brooklyn players while he was there. So, maybe maybe his voice carries some weight.
Yeah, that's a good point. I quite like Kenny Atkinson as a coach as well. And I mean, I think the experience thing probably will be a factor, just given the names that we've seen them being linked with. Guys like Doc Rivers, the pie in the sky, Nick Nurse option that they were trying to get across the line. But I don't know if Doc Rivers is completely out of the question. I mean, Daryl Morey has said that they want Doc Rivers back in Philadelphia, but
they
a guy like that kind of seems like that's what the Lakers are after.
Yeah, I don't know if Doc Rivers is the one to lead you out of the mess you're in at the moment either.
Hey, as a 76ers fan, they can have him, man.
Yeah.
I'm good.
You're stuck with him. Daryl Morey loves him. All right, BK.
Let us have Darvin Ham.
Yeah. Let's move on and talk about the NBA all-defensive teams that were announced over the weekend. The first and second teams were announced. BK, did you see any sort of, any notable omissions here or any, do we think the NBA got it right? Because I'm looking at this, so these are the first team right here. Giannis, Michael Bridges, Rudy Gobert, Jaren Jackson Jr., Marcus Smart. I think that's pretty much got it, right on the, hits the nail on the head right there. And then obviously the second team as well. Do we see anyone that we thought was a notable omission?
To be honest, man, I think they really got this right. Like these 10 guys, when you break it down by position, have been the best this season. The other guys that got some first team votes: Fred VanVleet, Dejounte Murray, and Joel Embiid got three first team votes. I can't really make an argument for any of those guys over the guys that were selected. But an interesting note: other players that received votes, the fifth and sixth guys were Evan Mobley and Herb Jones, two rookies, getting very high there in the all defensive team rankings. Is there anyone else you would have thrown in there?
No, honestly, there isn't. I thought they got this one pretty much right, and I thought they got them right in the sense of the guys that are on the first team deserve to be on the first team, and the guys that were on the second deserve to be on the second. I think when I made my picks, a few weeks back, I think I may have had Fred VanVleet on the second team. Obviously, I can't remember now. I'm pretty sure I had Fred VanVleet, but I'm not mad at that, BK. I think they got that one pretty much right.
Yeah, I don't think you're putting Fred in over Drew.
No.
And then obviously the other guard position, they've got Matisse Thybulle in there, who he was second team last season as well. It's hard to pull him off that second team, but some strong defensive players when you kind of look down the list of the other guys that they're getting votes. Defense is back.
Yeah, look, I saw some Australians, people just want to be outraged about something, but I saw some Australians yesterday on social media outraged that Matisse was on the second team and not the first team.
Come on.
Yeah, I was like, come on, guys, like let's just leave the outrage for one day and just chill on that.
Hey, look, that's what I always say. If you want someone to be in, you've got to say who's got to be out.
That's exactly right. And
it's
who
not
do you
Mikal
take
Bridges.
out for Matisse? That's exactly right, 100%. All right, BK, my man, we're going to let you go. We're going to catch you on again later on in the week.
I appreciate you, my brother.
All right, now we're going to bring on our resident betting expert. He's a two-time NBL champion, unfortunately with the Southeast Melbourne Magic. Could have been with the North Melbourne Giants, but he chose the wrong team. Anyway, we're going to bring on Andrew Parkinson. Parky, how are you, mate?
I'm very well today, Nick. Thanks very much for that intro too. Two-time NBL champion. That sounds good, mate. I like that.
Yeah, like I said, unfortunately, it was with the wrong team.
Well, that's why I've got this poster just up here.
I don't see it.
Shooting a jump against your Giants, mate. I'm just blown by D-Mac, and I think I'm shooting over Rod Johnson. So
I can't see anything.
For you, mate.
I can't see anything. I'm just looking straight at you. I can't see anything in the background.
I'll block it out for you.
All right, Parky, let's get into some of this game stuff. Now, you texted me on the weekend after that Warriors game with 2 thumbs up because you got the win and you got the over correct.
Yes, well, that was also after we went 2-0 the day before as well. No, sorry, we went 2-0 yesterday. So 4-0 on our picks on Friday, which was great. But we have to mention, just to cover all our tracks, that you did go against one of those picks, and you had.
I was waiting for this.
Yes, I did. And as soon as you said I was texting you. You know that my picks are winning if I'm texting you.
Yep.
Otherwise, you just hear crickets. So when I go 4-0 after get my 4 picks, I'm pretty excited about it. So we're going at 24-16 now at the moment with our NBA playoff tipping. So that's going well. But yeah, we snuck in yesterday with the Golden State Warriors. They weren't looking like they were going to cover that 6.5 points. But geez, they came all the way back and got that one nicely. Sorry, that was on Saturday, not yesterday. I'm still on the painkillers, mate. I'm still a bit daisy, but no, all in all, it was it was a good weekend of punting. So hopefully we've got a couple of winners today as well.
Well, I was kind of hoping you'd forget that I got that pick.
No, we've got to hold each other accountable, and we're having a lot of fun doing that. But no, out of the 4 picks I had, that was the one you went against, and it wasn't actually. You're only 1 game off, Nick, because yesterday, your Heat got it done actually in Boston, which is, I don't think anyone expected that one to happen. So. Yeah, you were just a game early, mate. That's all on your pick. But you would have been a brave man to pick the Heat yesterday, I reckon, in Boston Garden. But yeah, they got it done.
They got it done, so they're leading 2-1. Let's take a look at today's game, Parky, because this is the one that I got wrong last week. So we get another chance again today, and the Mavericks are back in Dallas, so they're going to be favourites here. $1.66. The Warriors are $2.25. Line is at -3. The over-under is 216.5. This one's going to be live on ESPN a little bit later today. Parky, I got this one wrong the other day. The Warriors, look, I'm going to go out on a limb again, Parky. I'm going with the Mavericks today.
Oh, okay. Well,
yeah.
That's good. We're going to have a bit of fun with that because I was going to take the Warriors plus the 3 points. Just simply because I just feel like the Mavs had their chance to steal that win in game 2. And look, they shot at about 48% from 3. The Mavs, that is. They were 21 from 45. So they shot really well to get that. I think they were out to about a 19-point lead at one stage. So, yeah, look, I felt like that was their chance. Now, things tighten up a little bit when Dallas play at home. But okay, there we go. Well, I'm tipping the Warriors plus 3 points. They're getting So if it's a tight game and the Mavs win on the buzzer, we still win our bet. So there we go. It's on. We're head to head in this one.
I just feel like I agree with you that they blew a chance in that previous game. They were up, I think it was 18-19. Like that Warriors comeback was absolutely ridiculous. But I just feel like going back to Dallas now, like they're not playing badly, the Dallas Mavericks. They're not playing badly, and they've got Luka playing at home in front of that crowd. I don't know. I just feel like they sneak a win today.
Yeah, no, look, that's possible. But the other thing I really like in this game is the under. I know that sounds silly after the last game. Both teams combined for 243 points, and the unders at 216.5. But there's a lot of money. I've been watching this game as far as the betting lines over the last couple of days, and there's been a lot of movement. A lot of people are going for the under. Initially, it was around 218.5. Game 2, it was about 214, and then we had that blowout win. So, look, things tighten up a lot, as I said earlier, in Dallas. In fact, in their 6 playoff games, they're holding the opposition to 93.5 points per game, which is pretty good. And the total, the average points in this postseason in games in Dallas is 198.8. So I think that 216.5, even though that's been chipped down a little bit of what it originally was, I still think there's good value in taking the under 216.5 in today's game.
Oh, there you go. I actually can't even remember the last time you did take the under, Parky, on a game.
Yeah, well, normally I like the unders, particularly in playoffs, because things normally tighten up. The teams scout each other; they know each other pretty well. It can be less possessions, and I think that's the way it's going to go in this game. Generally, there's been less possessions. They slow it down to their rate. They play good defense at home as well. So, yeah, I kind of, I'm sort of looking for a bit of a lower scoring game. And remember, it was only game 1 but the Warriors won 112-87, which is only 199 points. So that happened in game one. So I think it's going to be more like a game one sort of score, sort of early 200s. But there's a lot to play with there. 216.5 points.
Well, we'll have to see how that one plays out, and I'm pretty sure I'm going to be getting a text again later on if you are correct on this game. Parky, let's move on and take a look at tomorrow's game 4 between the Miami Heat and the Boston Celtics. Like we said with BK, this one's going to be a must-win for Boston because they're going to be in a heap of trouble if they lose. So they're entering game 4 as favourites, $1.35. The Miami Heat, $3.25. Lines at -6.5. Over under 208.5, also live on ESPN tomorrow morning. Parky, I'm kind of surprised that the Celtics are $1.35 favourites.
Yes, I was going to say the same thing, and I agree with you totally. It's a must-win for the Celtics. They can't go back to Miami down 3-1, facing elimination. There's just no way that they can afford to do that. But that is a fairly large spread. So, look, with all the injuries going on here, and as you and BK were talking earlier in the show, there's a lot of injuries going on here. I think, Jimmy Butler with the inflammation he's got in that right knee. Tyler Hero was wrapped up. Lowry came back, but, he looked a bit ginger. And then you look on the Celtics side, and Robert Williams, as you guys said earlier, looks like he could be out for a fair while. And I think they really missed him in game 3. And I think that's why Bam sort of had a night as well. And we've also got Tatum. He came out of that game. And Marcus Smart, I can't believe he came back from that ankle injury. When you watched on the replay, the way he did, I thought he would have been done for sure. But he had his Paul Pierce, Willis Reed moment and came back, and so did Tatum. So anyway, to cut a long story short, what I'm trying to say here is that I'm not going to offer an official pick as far as that goes, even though I'm leaning towards the Celtics and I think they will win. I think there's too much. I don't want to make a pick on that yet until we know exactly who's playing. So it sounds like a bit of a cop-out, Nick, but there's just too much going on with this game, and it's still, 25 hours away, so a lot can happen in that time. Yeah,
look, I'm gonna make a pick, Parky, but we're gonna write it in pencil, so that way I can erase it if anything changes prior to tip-off. But I think
I'll
Boston...
grab my pencil.
Yeah, grab the pencil. I think Boston win tomorrow.
Yeah. No, I agree. That 6.5 is a lot to cover, though, to win by 7 points. I mean, they should do it. It depends. Look, if Marcus Smart, his ankle is fully fine and Tatum's okay. I know that I think Robert Williams is definitely an out for game 3, but we'll wait and see. But I think the Celtics definitely can win it. It's just that I'm a little bit put off by that 6.5, 7 point. Well, it was actually 7 points yesterday, so there's a bit of money coming for the Heat. So a lot of the Heat punters were taking a lot of that +7. So I think we can see that, that spread might go down depending on injuries and things like that. So we'll keep an eye on that. And as far as the total points, the 208.5, I think that's right about on. All 3 games have gone over in this series. And if I was leaning anywhere, I'd probably lean towards the over in this game as well.
All right, there you go. We've got our picks in, or kind of. So they're not locked in stone.
Well, we've got 2 picks for today, definites. But I've just been burnt a little bit this playoffs with a lot of COVID protocols pre-game, and they say guys are questionable, and then they end up pulling out or playing. So there's a little bit. Sometimes when they say it's a game time decision, sometimes they're talking to punters on that, and they're telling the punters, hey, maybe you wait and don't put your bet on till around game time, so you know who everyone who's playing. So we'll just we'll wait and see on that one.
Yeah, that is the nature of the beast. Unfortunately, injuries happen as much as we hate to see them, and obviously we don't know what happens with these COVID protocols. All right, Parky, we're going to catch you again Wednesday morning, but I'm sure I'm going to hear I'm going to hear from you beforehand. If the Dallas Mavericks lose today.
You won't hear from me. You don't hear much from me. You won't hear any dings on your phone, mate. If the Mavs are up 20 and it's looking like it's going to be an over score, but let's just we'll see how we go here. You've got the Mavs -3 for the record. I've got the Warriors +3.
Yep.
But I've also got the under 216.5, which I really like.
All right, there you go. All the picks are in for today's game. We'll see how that one plays out. Parky, thank you very much. We're going to catch you again Wednesday morning.
Great. Look forward to it. See you then.
All right, guys, this has been another episode of the Last Shot NBA show right here on Little Birdie TV, brought to you by our great mates over there at topsport.com.au. We're going to catch you guys Wednesday morning.